to do with the flat earth thing, and we can't see it this side. It got taken down. And then if I go to the Joe Rogan thing this side, it got taken down the UK side. And even on BitChute, we can't see it. Well, I've just noticed the Level Earth Observer, he's from the UK, and he's put something out about it. It's about a 20-minute long video. So I was thinking about doing it now on here, Rumble, because this is the only way I'm going to be able to do something on it. Because he's the only one I can get hold of with part of the video. I don't know what he says through it, but we could have a look at it now, and I'll cut this bit out and put it out as a premiere on YouTube. You know what I mean? So we'll do that before we play out with some music. You know what I mean? Flat Earth was so last year, dude. Absolutely. Right, I've downloaded it. It's just in case it disappeared again. So I've downloaded it. So we're going to do that now. And then I'll play out with some music after that. It's about a 20-minute video. So let's do that. Let's do that. Right. New file. There we go. Joe Rogan reacts, gets very touchy when questioned on Flat Earth. And this is from Level Earth Observer.
Today we got an interesting conversation between Joe Rogan and Hollywood film director and producer Roger Avery. Now remember my stance. I only stand by the things that are...
I wonder if he used their VPN to get it, or if he downloaded it at the time. You know, you could tell, because the Level Up Observer does it on his phone. He does all his work on his phone, as you can tell.
physically true. I don't care of the results. I have no beliefs, no conceptual ideas to defend. I don't care how reality presents itself to us in its physical form. I just stand by it. It frees...
And by demonstrable reality, which is what he calls himself, a demonstrable realist, which is fair enough. Absolutely. What I see is level 2. What I experience is level. What I experience is non-rotational. Probably, bro, probably. But this guy, at least, like, he was not even a flat earther, but still showed him the flat earth proofs and that, and was talking like a flat earther, even though he's on the fence himself, allegedly. But still, Joe Rogan was just like, what about NASA? What about satellite images? You know? So, yeah. Well, I can't see it this side. Well, I was going to do something on it yesterday, wasn't I? But at the end of the last stream. But it got taken down from on Level Earth Observer. Yeah, no. Logical observations. And then when they give me the link to go to Joe Rogan's himself, it's down on Joe Rogan's side in the UK. And then the show give me the link for BitChute, and we can't get into the BitChute in the UK anymore. So it's the only way I'm doing it is through this. So might as well.
me of any burden, of any belief.
I'd already seen it anyway, but I was wanting to do a stream on it. Well, or part of a stream on it, you know, like this.
And it's a beautiful feeling. That's my stance. It's irrefutable, because if you cite physicality that can be tested and verified by all, I stand by it. That's my stance. So we're going to see a few visuals of maps, models, conceptual ideas in this video. None of which relates to me. I find the subject fascinating from the psychological point of view, and it's interesting to see the defense mechanisms displayed by Joe Rogan here. I'm not going to come in too much.
Yeah, Joe Rogan. It's all, what about satellites? What about NASA? What about the same stuff? The same stuff. I mean, how can you trust a dude anyway that flip-flops from disbelieve in the moon landings to believe in them? You know, he's obviously controlled up.
But I will pause at a couple of points.
He's a gatekeeper, as far as I'm concerned. It's not Level Up Observer, Joe Rogan.
And just add a few things. So let's have a look.
The biggest conspiracy theory that freaks everybody out is flat Earth.
And it's not a conspiracy theory, dude. It's just fact. It's what's observed. It's what's experienced. It's truth.
Now, I don't know what the Earth is, but experientially, through the testimony of the eyes, it is flat. And there is...
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing, you know. You just sit on the fence when you really look. If you're telling me that's exactly what you experience, that's exactly what you observe, then commit to it. If you think it's better arguments than globe and heliocentric, commit to it. Don't be on the fence, you know?
Very little chance that I will ever in my life, or most of us will ever in our life experience anything other than what is effectively a flat earth. And
there you go. What we've always experienced and what we'll continue to experience. Stationary, flat, plane, level plane. And what you're ever going to experience, and what anybody's ever experienced, with the sky rotating above you. It's simple as that. Logically, physically, actually.
And the way laser sighting across large bodies of water, or navigation maps for air travel, for pilots.
As soon as he takes his first break and talking, but Joe Rogan's like, you see this? Blah, 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 NASA, blah, blah, blah.
Is always the presumption of a flat Earth. It's always in the pilot manuals and on maps.
How so?
Well, if you're flying a jet at low altitude,
you see the screwed up face, and how so? Are you serious, man? It's one of them.
Altitude, you're not making corrections for curvature.
You're
going fast enough where you should be. And so what's actually happening there? Well, and so the idea is, look, I don't know what the world is or what the realm that we're in is, but experientially, from my perspective in life, it is nothing but it's a flat earth.
But what about?
Absolutely. And here, absolutely, from what you experience, from what you observe, and from what is physically possible, it's a flat. Absolutely. But here we go. But what about, here we go.
About travel routes? Like, what about when they fly over Antarctica? What if they?
When do they fly over Antarctica? Mr. Joe Rogan?
Don't fly over.
But you can
Antarctica.
watch the sun rise and fall.
They don't even.
You can watch the sun rise and fall perspectively. You know what I mean? That's how you watch it rise and fall. And it's called sunrise and sunfall, not earthrise and now earthfall. It goes away. It doesn't go down. It goes away, and it looks like it goes down prospectively. This is like day one flat earth.
Fly from Cape down to Buenos Aires.
There's an understanding of the precession of the equinoxes.
They travel up into...
Just obviously taking note here of Joe's automated defense mechanism type responses here, which we've all seen,
right,
which make no sense when we're talking about physical reality.
Into the other hemisphere and like land in London or something, and then travel back down whenever you're doing a flight across the Atlantic. And
right.
So like when you look at it on a flat Earth map, and there are plenty of them.
Satellite photographs of Earth from space.
Those are all
there it is. Satellite photographs of Earth from space. There's his answer. There's Joe Rogan's answer. Photographs, which aren't photographs, and the ones that are photographs are just satelloons. But the ones you're allegedly getting from space are composites, man. They're not photos. Cartoons, like he said.
Cartoons.
What are you talking about?
I'm saying that even the NASA, the guys who actually do those composites, those are composite imagery.
Right.
Listen, I am not saying that.
But it seems like you're saying that the Earth is possibly flat.
I'm not saying. Then he finishes it for him. It seems like you're saying the Earth is possibly flat. Well, that's what he's saying, but he's not actually saying it. He's saying what he experiences. He won't commit, which I think is cowardice. But it still shows you that a non-flat earther talking flat Earth still kind of cooked Rogan a little bit on it. But yeah, I think it's cowardice, man. If that's what you experience, that's what you observe, that's what you think is logical, say you've done a few tests or whatever as well, I would say he would have, and that's what he thinks, why wouldn't you commit? Why wouldn't you commit? You know that NASA puts out fakery. You know that these things are composites, so Why wouldn't you commit, bro?
Experientially.
Right,
From
but
your
that's a
from
scale.
your daily...
That's a scale issue, though.
Correct.
We're a tiny little thing on an enormous thing.
Correct.
But, you know, snipers have to calculate for the curvature of the Earth.
And he doesn't correct him on this, but when do snipers correct for the curvature of the Earth? When? Or even Coriolis, when? They don't. They correct for wind. That's it. They correct for wind and stuff like that. Angle. You know? They correct their breathing. Distance, they correct for. The angle, they correct for. And for the wind, they correct for. That's it. No Coriolis, no curvature. You need a calculator, and what would be the point in a sniper then?
It's when they shoot.
Only the curvature of the landscape that they're
Right.
on.
Why do you think the landscape curves?
Well,
the landscape doesn't curve.
yeah, no, well, if there's hills, that's going to curve. Obviously, that's different in that aspect, but not if you're over a flat plane, nothing's going to curve in front of you. Usually, they're not correcting for any type of curvature because if they're behind a hill, they're not going to be see the person, are they? So they'd be on top of the hill if there was any curvature at all. What stupid questions, man. Look at the beautiful Earth forward roll. Absolutely, bro. Absolutely.
It is a mountainous and
Not always.
uneven.
No, on flat plains, you have to do the same thing.
And how can the flat plains be flat on a rounded curvature on a curved surface? Weird. How can you have all these flat plains on a rounded on a sphere? It just doesn't work out, Gaji, Joe Rogan.
Well,
if you're making a long shot over a flat area, like if you had to shoot.
Well, then why don't pilots make adjustments?
I'm not a pilot. I don't know, but I do know that when you.
Well, then, if you're thinking about it logically, think about it logically. I'm not a pilot. I wouldn't know. Well, why wouldn't you just think about it logically? You don't have to be a pilot to think about flying over curvature as opposed to flying over a plane. You don't need to be a pilot to think about that. That's so stupid. That means you can't speculate on anything.
The film from the space station.
If you're not an expert in it, then that means you can't have an opinion in it. Don't be silly. No, that's his crap answer, Joe.
Earth.
When you look at the film from the space station, you see an Earth that's not just round, but spinning.
I see what I actually...
No, you don't. No, you don't. You see a load of projections, you know. Sometimes you might see it spinning sometimes. You might see half of it spinning, well, 2/3 of it spinning one way, and then you might see the other 2/3 at the other side of the satellite or whatever's there, the space station in front of it, or whatever, is spinning the other way. Sometimes they make mistakes like that. So you might see it spinning, but it's just a projection. It's just their fakery. You know, it's always cartoonery. It's a new word, cartoonery.
You know, the International Space Station is...
Again, it's appeals to authority here.
Right.
We have to abandon physical reality and trust establishments.
And don't think about your own logic, like Joe just said. Oh, hold on, I'm not a pilot, so how would I know? No, you don't need to be a pilot.
That are not trustworthy anyway.
Oops.
I don't understand the logic. This is where beliefs, emotions come in to play and become a hindrance to the clarity of thought, to what should be quite easy to discern here of what's physically true and the things that are either red herrings or irrelevant to the actual physicality of the subject, which is the ground we walk upon.
Exactly, Kunal. Exactly, bro. You said exactly, but see, that's the brainwashing he's pushing. If you're not a pilot or a sniper, you're a retard when it comes to thinking about the fire. Yeah, exactly. That's what they all kind of push. You've got to be expert on everything to know this stuff. No, you don't. No, you don't. Far from it. Just need to know truth. Simple as that when you see it.
Actually not high enough to see curvature. And what you're seeing is the lens distortion. And
It's not high enough to see curvature when you look out into the horizon.
It's actually even like it's
Well,
very,
even like your Neil deGrasse Tyson and all that says it's not high enough to see curvature. That stuff is flat, remember?
very close to the.
Let's look at footage from the space station of Earth. So when you see satellite images that are taken of the Earth,
Coming
you
from
think
someone that denied their moon landings, he denied the moon landings, but then goes back on it and said, "Oh no, they're legit now." But you denied it before. You seen the truth before, but then went back on it and seen the truth again. Makes no sense. No, it makes sense to me that Shillington.
they're lying? You think there's this grand conspiracy to piece all these pictures?
Not everybody needs to be lying. There's a lot of people lying, but compartmentalization. It's not hard.
I'm just saying that all I'm saying is that's the fundamental conspiracy theory that unravels everyone. And
well, it doesn't make any sense because
certainly questioning the globe Earth is a big problem psychologically for members of the public because of this inbuilt belief, which is reinforced through visual sci-fi films and various other forms, and it provides.
That's true. That's true. The media certainly reinforces the idea of heliocentrism with your sci-fi movies, in Hollywood. And I love sci-fi, but I know where the sci-fi ends and reality begins.
A fascinating viewing for someone like myself to see the performance, which I've, of course, many times over the years now call it a pantomime. Just the performance itself, it's fascinating to watch. Rather than dress and own it, so many can't, and they put on this defense-like performance of the silliest order. Crazy, bizarre, fascinating, and a little bit worrying.
Everything that we see in the cosmos that's a planetary body is round.
There we go again. Look at the sky. That's the shape of the ground you're on. Look at the sky. That's exactly how you can measure what the ground you're on. You can measure the ground you're on by looking in the sky. They've never thought that the sky is a separate thing from Earth. Then that we're not possibly the same as those things up there. I mean, you can see we're not the same as the moon. You can see we're not the same as the sun. You can see we're not the same as those stars. So why would you then think that those wandering stars you see, those circly type things, that funny shapes all over the place, not spheres, why would you think we're the same as that? Trust the science. Trust the science. Exactly, Kunal. Madness, isn't it? Look at the sky, and you can work out the Earth. Stupid.
Including stars.
We're talking about the Earth, and Joe's looking away from the Earth. It's just crazy.
So it's all round, except for small moons. Everything is round, and that's because.
There you go. Okay, you see round. You know it's spherical. You should be seeing, but even then they're not. Yes, there's sort of roundness to it, but there's also, if you look at it properly, they're not perfectly round. No, they're not. They flash, they dance, they do certain things. Some might look round, some looks like a wristwatch. Something looks like a wristwatch to me. There's round aspects to it, but they're not spheres.
Because
I'm not even certain
that space exists.
That the moon is anything more than a plasma.
Fair assumption. I don't know if it's a plasma, but I certainly don't think they can stand in it. I know it's a light. I know what Scripture tells me, and the Scripture says it's a light to rule the night.
Joe, for space to exist, for spacecraft need to be in free fall around a ball. There is no ball in the first place, so the environment for which they say exists, which is cited when we see something go in the sky, which is they tell us is the ISS. The base story fails at a fundamental level, Joe, in a physical form. That's a major problem. That's the elephant in the room. This should blow your
True.
mind and anyone who realizes that. But because of the defensive mechanisms at play, hurdles are there, holding these people back. And as a result, rather than own it, which does happen, I'm pleased to say, which is incredibly empowering and freeing from these beliefs, the shackles, but rather than do that, most go into like
Absolutely. Once you start realizing some of the truths, your shackles start loosening, the things start breaking apart, the chains start rusting. But it's not until you get the full truth of Christ that you can be bondage free, completely bondage free. But truth, it's the search for truth, is a good start.
I say, the automated defense pantomime mode, where we get these silly performances, these silly things cited. Looking up at the sky appeals to authority, an authority that doesn't have.
Saying how does it make sense to say, look at the sky, that's what we're standing on, when it's quite obviously not? It looks completely different. You have to be indoctrinated into it to believe that. But if you look at it from an outside perspective, forget your indoctrination and look at it from your logic and actual physicality, how physics works. If you could be objective about it and not subjective, then you'd see the truth. But no, people are ignorant to it, and it's willful ignorance sometimes.
Have a good reputation for telling the truth and integrity in the first place. Crazy. And I base the craziness, because I always bring it back to what's physically true and then compare to what these people are telling me. Crazy.
A plasma.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
That it's a plasma effect, a lenticular effect of some kind.
So that it's not a real thing, but it affects the tides. It is something that we have landed. At the very least, we've landed probes.
You assume it affects the tides. I mean, it might still somehow, I don't know, but you assume it affects the tides because you're indoctrinated into believing that. How come tides don't happen everywhere? How come it doesn't affect tides equally? You get to look into these things, Joe, or you just gatekeeping it.
Joe, you're just saying things that are just pure belief, yet you're saying them as if you were there. You're aware that you've ridden the tides up because
like you were there, like they all do, appealing to authority, and then say we. They give you the authority on it, but then say we. Hold on, you were just giving me the authority on it, and appealing to authority. Now you're saying we, like you were there. No, exactly. It requires belief.
The moon was pulling at it. You landed on the moon with probes. No, Joe, it's just beliefs. The psychology you're showing, the effects of it, Joe, in your responses when your belief system's questioned. I don't believe with everything this.
That's what I might call this clip when I put it on YouTube. Joe Rogan requires beliefs to deny the flat earth.
Man saying I'm not necessarily on the same page. I find this subject fascinating because of the responses and the opinions and all the stuff that goes with this subject. There's so much psychology and fascinating behavior at play with what really should be quite a simple, honest subject when you strip it bare.
I like how Adam from Level Left Observer's done this, because he obviously must have known that people were getting it taken down. So he's made it, his, and made it smaller, so you can't say it's exactly just taken from Joe, and actually put commentary over it. So we should be good. We should be good with this one, because I'll have to clip it out when we're done.
We don't know that it affects the tides. People theorize
that it
affects the tides.
Footage from the space station. This is live.
Is it? That's live? Wait and see what happens in a second.
Footage from the space station.
And I'm saying that's lens curvature, and that what you're actually seeing.
Why do you think that's lens curvature?
And that what you're seeing is horizon.
So what you're talking about is like
I'm saying,
a fisheye
if I'm trying
lens.
to provoke you, that's what I'm saying.
Right, but let's not do that right now, because I don't want you to
What
be
do you mean?
fucking
Let's not
insane.
do that. What do you mean? What? So you can deny it? You can say that you know for sure this is real? You just don't want to look at the logic, man.
Because this is a round body, just like the moon, just like
Is it? How do you know that's a round body? You can see a round edge. How do you know it's a round body?
Mars, just like Jupiter, just like Uranus.
That
all
appears
the ones that
that
we,
appears to be but in your practical life experience, you have to accept a certain amount of faith.
But
Right.
That's what I'm getting at
Okay.
any moment.
Well, they
That you
understand the
must-
precession of
You also get images like that or videos like that without the lens and it's straight. And if that lens was to move up and down, you'd probably get a concave effect also.
that
the
you have to
equinoxes.
believe.
Okay, do you know that the precession of the equinoxes is how they measure the sky over a period of 26,000 years?
I see right there.
What?
Like Joe's
Measure the sky over a period of 26,000 years? How do you know about this 26,000 years, Joe?
been there for them 26,000 years. And like, that really refutes physical reality.
Right.
A little stitching, like right there.
So this would just keep going straight forever?
Do you
or
see
not?
that line?
Yeah,
Do you
that
see that
line.
line right there? What is that?
What is that line?
Yeah, what is that line?
There you go. What is that line, Joe?
Well, that looks like stitching to me. It looks like they've stitched together and it crosses over there through that mountain range right there.
That is weird, whatever that is. But
So Joe's evidence, his citation, which overrules physical reality, has problems in it.
Big lols, Jono. Big lols.
The live feed that they've brought up as evidence that physical reality is wrong has stitching in it.
It's
Has
stitching.
problems in it.
Yep.
And my channel's littered with footage that is a major problem.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think everybody would be sub to level F observer, but if not sub to man, he's good. He's good, and he shows all the problems of NASA from not just from nowadays, but from way back in the 80s, sometimes the 60s, sometimes even the late 50s.
Compared to the official story they tell us. Yet alone, the overall picture of things regarding physical reality highlighting the absurdity of the globe.
Mm-hmm. Physically
Like I said, the
impossible.
biggest hurdle is not what's physically true here. It's a psychological issue based on beliefs and emotions and ridiculous.
Do you need faith and belief to believe in bloody heliocentrism, to think it's a fact? I mean, of course you do.
Behavior patterns hold people back from
Right.
seeing what's simply and is obviously and is physically true and discerning it from what is not.
By your very example, I'm just saying that you have to have a certain amount of faith in that. And on the surface, mundus vult decepi.
Oh, okay. You're freaking me out. Go back to that, Jamie. So
Freaking me out. That's your incredulity. Well, how can you be freaked out? You've heard of the flat earth before, Mr. Rogan. You spoke about it with, what's his name? Bravo dude, whatever his name. You know, he spoke about it plenty of times. Why would he be freaked out by it? What, because someone's talking sense about it? And why would you be freaked out? He's not committing to it, is he? He's not committing to it, even though he's pretty much saying it is flat. He's still not committing to it, which is cowardice, I think.
what is the explanation? Go back a little
Yeah,
bit.
what is the explanation of that line right there?
I don't know.
Right,
What
but
is
how
it?
weird is that? That is weird that there's this line.
Right,
that's
because
very
that
clear.
How weird is that, Joe?
Itself is a composite image, a cartoon that has been put together for you to look at this apparent live imagery. that is being taken. And
Is this multiple images that are supposedly pieced together? Is that what they're?
I'm saying that things fall into, like, the way perspective works is that things appear to fall into the horizon. But now you use what is that camera? Is it a P200 camera where you can actually zoom in and lift things out of the horizon that have appeared to fall into the horizon?
This line
Lift it out of the horizon. They weren't behind the horizon in the first place. And they were just too far out for your eye to see.
this live video feed from the International Space Station has
Been interrupted because you're watching too much.
due to either a change in the onboard camera configuration or a loss of
Exactly. Quickly cut the feed. It's gone pear-shaped. And regarding optical, so-called observations of boats supposedly going over the horizon.
Right.
As I've stated many times, and of course in my previous video, the optical world is not the same as the physical world, which is
Right. You need the physical. The physical obviously affects the optical, you know, but they are different. Physicality does not act the same as optical.
when anyone cites long-range observations as some kind of physical proof. They need physical demonstrations to account for the many variables at play with observations. Train tracks don't converge in physical reality, yet they appear to optically. We need to account for the optical variables at play with physicality to make it rock solid. This is the real scientific way, without beliefs, without any kind of narrative,
Right.
only standing by what's true.
Mhm.
Cross-referencing long-range observations, taking into account the variables with physicality as our backer. Unrefutable. It's
Right.
just people don't like the results of the way that physical reality presents itself to us. It's unpleasant because it doesn't match the belief system.
I was going to say, because it doesn't match what their world belief system is, what their worldview is, what their indoctrination is. It doesn't, it's not comfortable for them. Like when we came around, I mean, it wasn't too bad for me to accept flat earth, because to me, the penny just dropped. For some people, they call this is very uncomfortable because you're living with two beliefs. Oh, I was indoctrinating into that, but I see the logic in this. It's like two beliefs are making sense to you. So some people do get that called this. I didn't. I mean, it just made sense to me.
System that's been instilled in everyone.
Signal with the communications network. The video will return when the connection is reestablished. So this is during the live feed.
During the live feed, Joe. Isn't that funny?
From NASA's YouTube channel, it's just down right now.
It's just down right now. Okay, so you're
Weird, eh?
saying that this is like a fisheye effect of a lens,
Yeah, I'm saying
potentially.
that. I'm saying that, and that we can even see that whenever they're up there shooting with cameras outside, you're like, oh, there's the
But do you know how many
there's the
people-
curvature, and then every now and then the camera turns and it inverts for a moment, then it goes back down.
I've never seen that.
Right. Oh, you've never seen that, Joe. You've never seen footage of when the camera's moving, it goes up and then it comes down. It goes from goes from concave to level to convex. Sorry, from convex to level to concave. Don't say you've never seen that, Joe. That's a lie. Everybody has.
I watch a lot of NASA.
They use many different effects, and as a result you get many different failures as well. That's in itself a technique to cause confusion. Again, strip it bare, what's physically true, and then what's not, what doesn't match what is the way reality presents itself to us is obviously nonsense. Because here's the thing, how can something be physically true, the globe, if it can't be physically demonstrated? It can't.
Or it can't, then it's not physically possible. Simple as that.
You cite me something being physically true, but not being able to be physically demonstrated.
Then it's
Again,
physically-
I'm very simple and very logical with this subject. There's no emotions, no beliefs, just what is.
Right. What is?
Stuff. And listen,
What
I'm
kind?
not saying that we're not living on a globe, or at least an oblate spheroid, as Neil deGrasse.
At least an oblate spheroid. Then how do you get your radius? It needs to be continued. It needs to be uniform.
Tyson says, but have you ever noticed how spasticated that guy gets whenever you throw out the word flat Earth? He flips out like the way Robert De Niro flips
Be a
out
constant.
on like irrationally. He flips out.
He flips out when you say that men can't be women.
Right, I'm just going to forward it for a minute because they kind
Well, men can't be women. Men can't be women. Just so you know that.
of go a bit wayward with the subject, start talking about trans. I don't
Yeah,
wanna do that. I
yeah.
just wanna
Slap
come
it
back to
forward. Slap
the
it forward.
subject of play, which is about here.
A good idea, Adam. Good
We're all
idea.
just trying to construct what reality is, and it tends to be a consensus of what it is. But
Right, a consensus. Consensus doesn't mean reality. That just means, oh, yeah, a group of us got together and we agree that it's that.
there are fringes that on the ends that don't believe with what the consensus
I
says.
understand,
Are they wrong?
But do you
I don't believe anyone who's telling me physical reality is exactly the opposite that can be tested and verified by all, particularly if they are coming from authority and one that doesn't have a good reputation in the first place. I will not be gaslighted into stupidity based on emotions and beliefs. I've bypassed that trap,
Right.
that hurdle, and so should you.
Absolutely.
know
Well
how
said.
many people would have to be involved to promulgate this idea that they're
Again, another delusional.
Not as many as you think. Yes, a lot, but not as many as you actually think. There's such thing as compartmentalization, and you know this, Joe.
Defense mechanism, Joe. Men lie and can be deceived, and
Right.
because of beliefs have emotional attachments,
Biases.
and because of that, their common sense is abandoned. Prime
Right.
example: everyone, yourself included, the mainstream, believe physical reality is exactly the opposite of what can be tested and verified by all. Is
Absolutely.
everyone in on it? No, of course not. People believe blindly. And when questioned, the defense mechanisms come into play, just like some of the ones you've displayed for us today, Joe.
Well said. Well said. Couldn't bet myself on him.
a flat Earth, and you got to cover up that thing and pretend it's round. And what's the motivation of covering up the fact
Why
that
do
the
they keep saying round? Look, flat can be round too.
Earth is flat?
I mean, if we're really fundamentally getting
I
down,
mean, that's a very deep, big question to be answered. Can someone really fully answer that question honestly, without full exploration here? Of course, we should be granted full exploration based off the fact the way physical reality presents itself to us,
Right.
and it doesn't match what we've been told by the education system and the so-called space authorities.
Heliocentrism doesn't match up when you look at the evidence for it. It doesn't match up to reality at all. At all.
So we've got a major problem. That's the elephant in the room. And what's physically true,
Everything has to be presupposed and programmed into you before it works.
and the fact that doesn't match what we're being
And then it
told
doesn't.
should blow everyone's mind. And it does many. But still, because of the spells at play, so many are still struggling to walk away from those sci-fi box sets, Star Trek, Star Wars, and the Globe Earth, and all the nonsense that goes with
Hey, I still like Star Trek, Star Wars, the old school ones. But like I say, I know where sci-fi ends and reality starts.
with that delusional package.
to it, it's about God. And it's about what is this realm that we're in, and are we part of creation? And,
But why would
Well, of course we're part of creation. It's a created earth. The things in it are created also. We're part of creation. The Bible tells us so.
why would it be more likely God if it was flat?
every culture throughout recorded history draws us in this kind of flat earth.
Again, I don't go for any map, any model, any conceptual idea.
I agree with him that way. I mean, yes, the A map and that it does its thing, but I can't say that's actually what it looks like if you run a bird's eye view. It makes sense to me, yes, but I can't say that's actually what it looks like. I can just go by what scripture says and what I physically see.
I think that's asking for trouble. I simply stand by what is. Full exploration will answer those questions. Anything other than what's physically true becomes a belief for me, and I'm not willing to do that.
Fish environment with a dome, a firmament that covers it up until like when the 1930s or
Right,
so.
when they start making telescopes.
Right.
I mean, so this is a grand conspiracy, like Galileo was wrong, Copernicus was.
Just beliefs, Joe.
They were just men. They're flawed. They were looking it out and conceptualizing, making models in their head. Doesn't mean it was truth.
Beliefs in things. Men blindly believing in things. that are obviously physically true. That's been proven at this point in time. The subject wouldn't exist in itself. All the mainstream has is kind of fallacious reasoning. It's just insane. And the behavior, the mechanisms like we've seen here are fascinating, although quite worrying.
Wrong. All these people
All
didn't
of
know.
recorded history is wrong. And I mean, the other option is that we are just specks of nothing floating around in an endless vast.
I think that's it. Fascinating stuff. Really
Yeah,
interesting
right.
to see. Of course, a lot of people call Joe Rogan a shill based on his delusional U-turn regarding the moon landing. So
I think it's more than that. It's more than just the moon landing thing, but he did do that. Yeah, absolutely.
called moon landing. Again, we've seen quite a few U-turns recently with some people who were considered truthers
I think he's done about Jaron that.
in the first place, who, if you actually analyze their stance from day one, it was all over the place. It was illogical. 1 minute
Absolutely. Absolutely. If you're fickle, you're back and forth like that, you want the truth in the first place. You even though Jaron knows it's flat, but he's never been a flat earther.
it could be logical. The next, it was promoting conceptual ideas at the expense of what was physically true. So on the other hand, they were illogical. So it's obvious who's who based on their stance and what they've been about from day one. Are they true? Are they logical? Do they have honesty and integrity?
That's it. Do they? No, they didn't. They didn't. Right. That's it, God, geez. That's it. Let's